Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. First tonight, the pre-Christmas rush for COVID tests has again inundated clinics as Tasmania records a significant jump in COVID infections. 12 new cases overnight. Most are interstate arrivals, but the source of one remains a mystery.
The wait for COVID tests in Tasmania, a true test of patience.
The people have been very kind in showing us where to go, but we've been here for 2 hours.
This is for my safety and for everyone's safety, so I'm happy to test.
The number of coronavirus cases almost doubling overnight. 12 new cases today, the total now 26.
I know that for some Tasmanians that this may concern them, but I want to once again say that this is exactly what we understood would occur.
Most are interstate arrivals, 2 transiting from overseas, another a close contact of a previously confirmed case. But the source of one infection remains a mystery.
That case would obviously be going through the contact tracking and tracing at the moment.
The Premier, fresh from National Cabinet, confirming leaders are still waiting for advice on whether they should move forward the timeframe for booster shots and on if rapid antigen testing could take some of the burden from PCR clinics.
We won't be moving away from the pre-test requirement of a PCR test in the 72 hours prior to travel until we've read and understood that advice.
While summer festivals are continuing their bump in, hoping everything can go ahead as planned, despite an interstate surge in Omicron cases.
The public health are providing us with good feedback. Our COVID plan's looking strong, so we're just looking forward to getting on with it on the 28th.
You know, we've had date changes, we've had 2 venue changes, but it's here now and we're really happy about it.
One event not so lucky.
Now it seems like time passes us by.
The Cygnet Folk Festival, another COVID casualty, cancelled for another year, with the risk of COVID too great. Now hoping it will be the last forced to pull the pin. Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
A major milestone has been reached in the Bridgewater Bridge upgrade, with a company selected for the project's redesign. The state government is promising to protect the infrastructure's colonial heritage following community backlash.
It's a major gateway for Tasmanian commuters, and now plans have been released for the new $500 million Bridgewater Bridge.
It's the largest transport infrastructure project in the state's history. We're going live with a real contract.
McConnell Dowell selected as the preferred builder to redesign the bridge for another century, making the drive a little easier for 22,000 people each day. The state government purchasing around 20 properties, including the historic Black Snake Inn, to begin construction.
Our intention is to utilise that small area of land for road construction and then return to market the provision of that heritage buildings.
An important part of the bridge's infrastructure will also be preserved, including the convict-built causeway, something many locals feel very passionate about.
That's wonderful. I mean, we've got to have a little bit of, oldness around here as well, a bit of memory to have.
You've got a beautiful tourist railway line that runs all the way along the foreshore and up into the mountains, not being used.
It's always been there since I was younger, so it's nice to have something familiar.
Construction will commence next year. Ainsley Kosh, 7 Tasmania News.
Santa, not the real one, ended up on the police naughty list today as members of Extinction Rebellion glued themselves to a busy Hobart intersection this afternoon during a protest, calling for greater climate action this Christmas. 2 members of the group were arrested and bailed to appear in court at a later date. Police and the Department of Primary Industries are investigating a social media video circulating online depicting alleged animal cruelty in Tasmania. The video has prompted calls for more education around animal welfare.
There's got to be some sort of deterrent for them, and it needs to be very public. So other people say, you know what, if I'm not going to torment an animal simply because I've got empathy, I'm not going to do it because I don't want the repercussions.
The social media user has since taken down the video. Organisers of one of the state's biggest events since the pandemic began have cleared yet another hurdle. Just days before the Party in the Apocalypse Festival, Perth-based headline act San Cisco was pulled out due to Western Australia's crippling border closure. Thankfully, a last-minute scramble has locked in pop duo Client Liaison in its place, to the relief of organisers who have been navigating the pandemic's state of flux.
We can kind of see like a light at the end of the tunnel. We think the next 12 months, 2022, next summer, we're hoping for some really big, fun things.
Party in the Apocalypse begins on Monday and is capped at 5,000 people. Only a handful of tickets remain. Tasmanians will be able to appreciate a taste of history at this year's Taste of Summer Festival. Cups bought by the Hobart City Council for the event over the past 30 years will now be on sale, with the funds raised going to a good cause. The Hobart City Mission is hoping to raise $70,000 during the festival.
Riverside Olympic product Nathaniel Atkinson has signed with Scottish soccer club Heart of Midlothian. The Melbourne City player will further his career in Europe as soon as the 22-year-old is cleared to play in the UK. Meanwhile, 6 Melbourne City players have tested positive to COVID. It's unclear if Atkinson is one of them. A Tasmanian boxer is hitting the big time, about to enter the ring for his first professional fight. Despite years battling injury, Hadspen's Tyler Blizzard has carved out a stunning amateur record under the guidance of boxing great Jeff Fennick.
Fitting to his namesake, Tyler can throw a blizzard of punches, but soon shadowboxing will be replaced by a professional debut when he fights an as yet undecided opponent in Thailand.
I think I've got a very competitive nature about me, and yeah, I hate losing.
Luckily, he hasn't lost too often.
Comes from the blue corner.
His glittering amateur career boasts 50 wins from 60 fights, including 7 Tasmanian state championships, 5 Australian, plus 2 state titles in Queensland. But his journey started in a different code.
When I was 10 years old, my dad walked me into the gym and I was playing footy at the time, and then once I started hitting the bag, I think the rest was history.
A hand injury forced a lengthy stint outside the ring, but the 23-year-old is being guided by one of the greats.
Fennick all over Nelson.
Jeff Fennick, a world champion in 3 weight divisions, has been working closely with Blizzard for the past 12 months.
He's a very, very entertaining fighter. He throws a lot of punches. He's very, very strong.
Thinking back to his own debut, Fennick encourages Blizzard to embrace the nerves on fight night.
I tell all my boys, are you nervous? And they say no. I said, well, listen, somebody's out there who's going to try to punch your head and knock you out. You need to be nervous. You need to be ready.
I'm sure the nerves and that will be there as always, but I think once the bell goes, I think the competitive nature and where I want to be will click into place, and yeah, I think I'll be fine.
An anxious wait. His debut is still weeks away on January 28.
The NBL has revised the fixture for rounds 7 to 9. The Jack Jumpers will have 4 games in Tasmania between the 14th and 30th of January. They're against the Sydney Kings, Perth Wildcats and New Zealand Breakers. The Jack Jumpers are playing Sydney tonight. 3 Tasmanians have now locked in contracts with cycling team Ineos Grenadiers. Cameron Worth will race for the team while preparing for the famous Kona Ironman in October. Richie Port will ride out the final year of his contract before retiring at season's end. And former Burnie rider Luke Plapp, well known at the Tasmanian Christmas Carnivals, is on a 3-year contract.
Good evening. 24 was the state's top today in Launceston, Burnie and Devonport 21, 19 in Hobart. St Helens 21, 17 across Grove and Strawn and 20 at Low Head. On the close-up, cloudy conditions about the west of the state. Further out, low-level cloud is pushing over parts of Victoria and New South Wales, while thunderstorms are seen moving over WA. Tomorrow shows a ridge of high pressure extending over WA, the Bight, Victoria and Tasmania. West to southwesterly winds tomorrow 10 to 20 knots, swells up to 5 metres in the west and south and below 1 metre in the north. A strong wind warning is current for the lower east coast and southeast coast. Tomorrow's forecast now: Hobart cloudy, 20 across Cygnet and New Norfolk. In the north, Launceston and Campbelltown cloudy, 20 in Devonport. Burnie and Smithton tomorrow 21, Strawn expecting a possible shower. 17 about St Helens and Fingal and cloudy in Swansea. The UV forecast is very high 10s across the state. Looking ahead to the 3-day forecast now: Friday, showers about the west and far south, fine elsewhere. Christmas Day, showers about the west and far south, mostly sunny elsewhere. And Boxing Day, showers about the west, far south and northeast, clearing in the afternoon. Capital cities 35 and sunny in Perth tomorrow. Alice Springs partly cloudy and 28 in Canberra. And currently Hobart partly cloudy and 16, Launceston 21 and Devonport mostly cloudy and 18. And Kim, it is the summer solstice today, the longest day of the year.